All right, so let's read some emails. We've got a very specific email that's going to guide sort of our the second half of our show. So let's read this one here. There is a Twitch streamer known as Lirik. By the way, if you want to call the show, Final Encountercast on Skype, 810-207-1764. There is a Twitch streamer known as Lirik, one of the few individual successful Twitch broadcasters who on average has like 25K viewers a day, which he streams every day but Thursday. Needless to say, he's the 1% of Twitch who makes a lot of money. A few days ago, he tweeted something that triggered a lot of people who are involved with Twitch. Before reading this, I would suggest maybe looking at Lirik's Twitter and reviewing what he said. This is just my opinion on his comments. Lirik recently went on a rant about those who had donation buttons and donation pages. He discussed the idea of how it is wrong and should be treated like a hobby and for fun. I agree with him 100%. It should be a hobby and it should always be the intention of having fun. But this is where he went wrong, though. He says you're doing it wrong for having these buttons and donation pages. He constantly says how he did it this way and he grew because of this and that. Just because you approach streaming differently than other major streamers like Lirik doesn't make you a bad one, just makes you different than them. My biggest and really my main issue with his rant is that he made no separation between people who are streaming only for money and small streamers who have donation buttons. Primarily in his first tweet. In the end, is having a donation button or a donation page a big thing? I don't think so. What do you all think? And of course, we're going to take your calls. If you want to call in on this, Final Encountercast on Skype, 810-207-1764. But let's actually take a look at the tweets. It was really important to me. Like, let's actually find the source material and not just take whoever wrote this email at their word. And by the way, thank you for your email and bringing this to our attention, because I think that this is something we've talked about this in the past, whether it be on Limit Break Radio talking about Mythry or talking about our own show here. We talked about our steps forward for like 3 hours on one episode. So I mean, like, I think that this is an appropriate place to talk about this. So does someone want to actually
I'll read the tweets.
Yeah, you want to narrate the tweets for me? Okay.
Yep.
Get a Lirik voice.
Well, we don't know. We don't
need to make fun of the dude.
We don't know Lirik, so yeah.
If you're a new broadcaster on Twitch and you already have donation overlays, donation links, you are doing it wrong. I put up a tip jar after 1.5 years of streaming. If you don't start your streaming career with fun in your mind, you are fucked. Also, don't give me this bullshit about supporting the little guys. You don't need money as a little guy. Fuck off. I started broadcasting when I was 21 in college. It was a hobby. I had 10 viewers, 20 viewers, 200 viewers. Stop acting like you are unique. I fucking hate when people are like, yo man, quit my job to live stream, support the little guys. Shut the fuck up, you have 100 viewers. Why the fuck did you quit your job? I streamed on a computer with no side panel, with barely 720p, 30 frames per second. Had to set my games to the lowest quality for a year plus. Get the fuck out. By the way, this is mainly focused on a bunch of broadcasters I've been clicking around on Twitch and looking at their setup and Reddit Twitch. If you're a new broadcaster and you're doing it for fun of it and want to show people your talents, I wish you all the best. You are doing it right. Clarification. Why do you need a support button, aka money, as a startup broadcaster? You should be focused on entertaining and fun. The fact that people don't agree with startup broadcasters should not have donation overlays, donation links, blows my fucking mind. You are clearly in it for the money and fast cash. Why don't you start with a solid foundation and keep broadcasting as a hobby? Once that hobby blossoms into something tangible and meaningful, then expand and grow. Wait for your, oh shit, I have something here moment. Those tweets were to Mr. 5 viewers who, A, quit his job and needs support, B, has a ridiculous donation overlay, C, entitled to get viewers cause A and B. And the worst spot response he's gotten is, a donation can motivate a person and keep them going. Who the fuck wants to stream 5 hours a day for 5 viewers for nothing?
So, obviously some inflammatory tweets there, and I've kind of gone back and forth on this.
I like half agree with him and then half don't.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I think, 50-50, I think is about right. Because, I mean, I don't. And I don't. First of all, I don't take any umbrage to this. I don't feel like he's talking about us. I don't feel like
no, he's not.
No. I don't know that this necessarily applies to us. We've been doing this for 10 years. We built a foundation.
That's longer than you, by the way.
We've built an audience. Yeah, we've been doing this since we were a podcast, and I think that because. Because I struggled for a while, like, how, do we do PayPal? Like, how do we make that work? Like, it wasn't like we started streaming and right away we were like to super complicated overlays and, donation buttons and Patreon. Like, I do think that there is some wisdom here in that if you are just starting out streaming or if you're just starting a show and I've even encountered this where you come across a podcast and it's pretty good, but by episode number 1, they're asking for money. They're saying go to our Patreon page. Bitch, you have not earned the right to ask
for money.
Exactly. And we were very conscious about running this show for a good year and a half before we made the ask. Yep. That was
even just the ask, but before we put any buttons up too.
Before the option.
Before the option
was and that doesn't necessarily mean that we couldn't have or shouldn't have.
Right.
That was just our personal choice.
Exactly. That was our choice. And I think when people ask us about the success of the Patreon or the success of the stream or the success of the show, that's one thing that I'm always very conscious of, of advising them is, make sure you feel like you've earned the right to ask for the support.
Mm-hmm. I don't like the wording you're choosing right now.
Well, hold on, because I want to add on to that, Nika, and this might assuage you because I think I might know where you're coming from.
Okay.
It's the ask that I think can turn a lot of people off. That does not mean that if you're starting up, you can't have a button there at the bottom, right? No, because if people come across you and they like what you're doing and they want you to do more of it and they want to support you, that's how they do it.
I think everyone should have a PayPal button. Like, I just feel like no matter how early you are, if you plan on doing it more than one time, like, I feel like having that PayPal button down there that just says, if you like what I do,
yes,
and you want to do something,
I think nothing wrong with that in my eyes.
Please support me here. Like, that's actually not the word ask that's bothering me. It's the word right that's bothering me. Like, you have to earn the right to ask. Like,
no, I don't. I'm not. Let me clarify because I'm not trying to project that on somebody else. It is something that you have to decide for yourself between you and it's between you and your audience. If you feel like you have earned the ability to ask or earn the right to ask your audience after one stream session or one episode or whatever.
Even after 10 years, some people come in here and tell us, you guys are always asking for money. Fuck you.
Yeah. No, I mean, whenever you ask for money, there's going to be some kind of hostile response, but there are going to be people also who support you, as we've seen multiple times on this episode alone.
I feel like I see a very, very big difference between a PayPal and a Patreon. Like, I think a Patreon, you do have to have more of an established audience. You do have to have kind of an idea that people will support you, because a Patreon, you're not only like asking people to donate monthly, but you're also promising more content or promising rewards. If you're brand new, you might not necessarily realize what you're getting into or like have the means.
You're absolutely right.
That stuff.
Absolutely. I've always pictured that PayPal tip jar as like for that moment, like, oh my God, this guy just made me fall out of my computer chair laughing. Let me throw him $5.
Even if
that
you've
was
never
amazing.
streamed before ever, and you tune into this guy and he's hilarious. Like, hey, I like what he does. I want him to keep doing it. Here's $10.
Yeah,
I feel like a tip jar should be built into Twitch.
One of the biggest things or one of the things that makes the most sense to me is how we call PayPal a tip jar, because that's what it is. All right, the fact of the matter is that streaming anything nowadays is a legitimately viable career choice.
Yes,
it's extremely oversaturated, sure, but it is just as legitimate. And whether you're sitting here in front of a stream, you can have a tip jar. If you're in New York City out in the fucking corner, guess what you're going to have in front of you?
A tip jar.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it. And I think Lirik is sort of making a judgment call or morality call that I don't agree with. But I think that you're going to have varying degrees of success depending on how you approach it. Mm-hmm. I'm saying this as someone who is saying, like, look, this is the approach that I took. This is the attitude that I took when, starting up my show and, forming an audience and then feeling like I earned the right to make the ask. Again, it's something that the individual content creator has to make the call between them and their audience. It is, and you know, we had made this point on Limit Break Radio with the whole Mythry thing, that it is between you and your audience, whatever the circumstances, whatever it is, like, it's between you and your audience. And you know, I feel like Lirik is going to have a valid opinion, being that he is, such a huge streamer and such a presence on the platform. And I'm not trying to invalidate his opinion, but you look like an asshole when you say that. That's my point. Just like it's someone who is streaming for the second time to 3 people asking again and again and again for PayPal donations.
Yeah, that's
all you're going to do is end up with 0 people on your channel.
Yes.
Now, and Nate knows what it means to look like an asshole.
Right.
Yes.
And so you have your own built-in consequences for doing that shit. When I say this, it's not a judgment call. Do whatever the fuck you want with your content and with your channel. That's fine. I'm saying if you want to actually see some success, this is the approach that I took, and this is what I feel worked best for me.
Well,
that's
yes.
all.
And what I think a direction that Lirik is coming from, right? Because like he said, he started out, he didn't have anything there, right? What probably eventually drove him to get a PayPal button was people enjoy watching him so much, they want to see more of him. People probably started asking, is there any way we can donate to you, right?
Yeah.
In today's market for streaming, again, it is a viable career option. So that's not like a second thought. That's not an afterthought. You know, people are going to want to do this, yes, to have fun, but there's also going to be that thing in the back of their head that maybe I can make a thing out of it. So they're going to start with it, right? I think one of the things that where Lirik's opinion is coming from, or his concern is coming from, is if you're trying to establish an audience and right from the get-go, you're saying things like donations, this, and that, it can and will turn some people off.
I agree. I've heard other podcasts, competing podcasts with ours, do that from like the very first episode. They're like, if you want to support, we're over at Patreon, and it's fine to have a Patreon page. But I mean, even someone, we've been doing this for 10 years. We've had a Patreon page open for more than a year, right? Like,
Patreon didn't exist 10 years ago.
True, but the thing is that we're struggling to maintain our promises, all our promises, whether it be promises of content, whether it be promises of physical rewards. We are making good on that. It's something that we're making good on, but it's like, it took time.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Definitely.
And for other people, I could easily see them over-promising.
Well, and on the front of
and
Patreon,
not delivering.
On the front of Patreon, you do have to have something to offer. We went a full over a year before allowing anyone to donate, and we had people asking, how can we donate to the show? How can we give? And we said, you can't right now. Eventually, we'll have that option. Yeah. But when we went to the Patreon, it was important to us that we had something to offer back. And doing the show weekly was one of those things. And it was the fans who spoke up and said, obviously, overwhelmingly, yes, that's what we want, because we broke that goal immediately.
Amnesiac in chat saying, well, what alternative is he proposing for being successful on Twitch? I don't think he's necessarily trying to give an alternative. I think what he's saying is, don't come into Twitch expecting that you can just plop down a donation button and make this a career. Now, the idea that there are people quitting their jobs to try and stream full time, first of all, that's gross negligence on their part. All right, whether or not you agree with us, Lirik, or have your own opinion, that idea is negligent and it's dangerous too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This is where I agree with him, even though he's not directly saying that. I think that you have to love what you're doing to a large degree, rather than just saying, oh, this is where there's some money and it seems easy because I don't have to have a degree. I'm just gonna quit and try to make money off of this. And it's interesting, reading these tweets, coming from the cosplay community too. There are plenty of people who go, you know what, I'm going to start cosplaying because I want this to be my career, I want to be famous, and I want to make money. And there's 5 cosplayers in the world that actually do this as their job. Right. And they do other things outside of that. They sell things, they they do other things. And
But is it wrong? Is it wrong to have that ambition? Because part of what I feel like Lirik is saying that bothers me is he's saying that it's wrong to have that ambition. I think if you're at the point where you're solidly getting 100 people when you're streaming, why is that a fucking seriously?
He does have a tweet that specifically points out.
Shut the fuck up! You have 100 viewers. Like,
100 every
that's hard to do.
100 viewers is tough, man. I mean, like
as oversaturated as this market is to solidly get 100 people. Yeah, okay, cool. You have 25K. That's fucking insane, man. But 100 people watching you, that's pretty fucking good too.
In defense of him,
what he's saying is to go into it with the mind frame of you love this, and you like. And what we say all the time is we would do this for one person because we love it so much.
Right.
Like it's not our only goal to make money. And I think that's what he's not saying, and what he is saying by not saying it is that you have to also love it and want to do it for fun in order to become successful.
Right.
So I think that's kind of what he's like. Not really an alternative, but what he's saying that is if you go into it from day one saying I'm here to make money, guys. Here's my Patreon, rather than saying I'm here because I love it. This is fun. I do this because I love it, and then you're going to have a better personality and more entertaining, like wanting people to watch you because you genuinely love it, and then from there build in the donation.
Right. I think at some point that is his underlying message. It gets obscured and it doesn't, I don't think, come out right. But I think part of what he's trying to say is if in your mind your first and foremost thought isn't I'm here to entertain, then you're doing it wrong.
That's the part of it. That's the part of it that I genuinely agree with.
This could have been really quick. Someone's pointing out that maybe he meant 100 views, not 100 concurrent viewers.
Whatever. I don't think that anyone in that position would be quitting their job to make that work.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
true.
No,
but there are some people who are like, who maybe not even necessarily quitting, but like maybe they get fired or they get laid off and they decide, you know what, I'm not going to look for a new job. I'm just going to do this, and it's very very.
So me.
That's fine.
So me. That's what you're saying is because I'm collecting unemployment.
In fact, Nika, that's what Callie wanted to do.
Yeah.
When he got his hours cut down, he's like, I'm actually going to give this a go. I'm going to start streaming 30 hours a month. We're still waiting for that, or a week. We're still waiting for that to happen. But that's basically what you're saying.
But we have a much bigger fan base built in than someone just starting.
But you have to someone who's never streamed before and they lose their job, and also to collect unemployment, don't you have to like be actively searching for a certain amount of time, you like lose your unemployment or something like that?
Actively searching, yeah.
But like for someone who's never streamed before and they lose their job, and they're like, you know what? I like video games. This is my new job. Twitch, make an account, boom, stream day one, you get 0 viewers. Like,
right. If you're literally starting with nothing, then it's idiocy.
Yeah, well,
is it though?
That's what he's. I think to start out,
I think it's unadvisable.
It's very unadvisable. I think.
Ellie Buttons, when she was streaming, she started in November. We discovered her in February? That's 4 months, and she had almost 1,000 followers. So no, you know what? If you're good at what you do, if you're an entertainer, can just the average Joe do it? Not unless you never fail. But no, you can't. You really have to have a personality for this.
Right.
You actually have to know what you're doing. But if you have that talent, then absolutely. If you get fired for your job one day and you think, you know what? This is what I'm going to fucking do, and you set your mind to it, sure, you can. Is it advisable? Sure. No, of course it's not fucking advisable.
Ellie and Joe are the best case scenario. For each one of them, there's 10,000 who fall flat.
That's true, but this is sort of like this is like someone losing their job and going, okay, well, people have told me that I'm funny and that I should do comedy. I'm just going to pack up my car and go from open mic to open mic and see if I can make people laugh. It is remarkably similar to that.
Yeah. Sure. And it's bold and it's ambitious, but is it advisable? I don't think so.
No, it's not. But I mean, like, at the same time, I do feel a little bit lumped in with these people because he's calling out people that have 100 viewers and, okay, first of all, as if I needed your fucking advice to grow my channel, Lirik. The fact that he comes out and says this shit like anyone even asked him or prompted him, good job, you have an opinion. So what? A lot of people didn't like it, and then you packed up your gear and went home and said, I don't want to have this discussion anymore. So, it's hard for me to take you fucking seriously when you're sitting in a fucking ivory tower talking down to us like you know for sure what the fuck to do. Fuck you. You don't know.
You want to know what thing illustrates your point the best? Was this line here. Don't give me the bullshit about supporting the little guys. You don't need money as a little guy. Fuck off.
Are you out of your mind?
That's the one.
What does that mean?
I don't know what that means.
You don't need money as a little guy, but what? You need money?
Like, yeah, that doesn't make sense because as a little guy, you need money to make yourself a bigger guy.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And there's this other tweet. I streamed on a computer with no side panel with barely 720p and 30 frames per second, and I had to set my games to the lowest quality for a year.
Yes, they probably are.
This is the traditional. This is the traditional screed that you hear from the right wing when somebody complains about not being able to find a job. It's the pull yourself up by the bootstraps mentality of you don't need this because I didn't have it. No, fuck you, dude. Everyone gets to choose their own path. You don't get to be the arbiter of what constitutes the moral growing of a channel or not. You just fucking aren't. And the fact that you try to deliver this Sermon on the Mount about what people, how people should or shouldn't ask for audience growth or their audience to support them, man, fuck you. Fuck you. I decide when I earn this right. We decide in this room when we earn this right. Anyone who's on this side of the microphone and the camera gets to make that decision for themselves. You don't get to come in and be a fucking arbiter for us. And don't tell me what money I need or don't need, motherfucker. Because almost everything that we've gotten in terms of support, we have used to grow the channel. We have used to better our equipment, better our look, better our sound. We have used it to grow our product, and that has been massively important.
Oh yeah.
I mean, our biggest problem was producing content on a regular basis every single week. And you know what got it done? Financial support. Because at that point, we were able to go to our other bosses that employ us for 30 hours a week or 20 hours a week or whatever it is and go, hey, I'm not available on Sunday because I'm making money somewhere else, and it's every single Sunday. So unless you can book me every single Sunday for the same amount that they're going to pay me, then you can find somebody else to do your Sunday shifts. Like, that has been a very powerful negotiation tool for us to be able to get in the fucking building. And don't you tell me that I don't need a budget.
Exactly. Because of that, if it wasn't for that money, we couldn't do that, which means to do that, we needed the money.
Even
I'm going to tell you right now, unless you're part of the 1%, you need money. Just saying. Like, everyone needs money.
Yeah, I would say I would say that it's actually the people with 100 viewers that need the support way more than these guys who are getting 25,000 every time they fart into a microphone. Fuck this shit. I don't give a fuck if this guy has 25,000, 50,000, or 100,000. He's a piece of shit for this goddamn garbage. And you know what? I wouldn't ever ask you to apologize, Lirik, but fuck you. I just completely wrote you and all of your shitty fucking content off. Good job, buddy. Good job. Have fun streaming. I would love to see your numbers go down. I would love to see.
I never want to check out this guy's channel.
No, never. I mean, honestly, he painted himself into a corner and made him look like a consummate douchebag.
Guys, Lirik is making streaming great again.
God.
Oh my God.
I mean, it really is frustrating.
Give me a phone. I need to tweet that.
It really is frustrating to have this guy come in and say, well, you don't need it. You don't need it. Why? All you need is enthusiasm and love. Well, that's all you need to succeed in any career, right?
Yeah.
Enthusiasm and love.
Yeah.
And relationships.
And being a starving artist. That's what
you have to be enthusiastic about loving to suck cock to get to the next level.
I mean, he doesn't even address. I mean, he's like, well, why did you straight up quit your job? What about people who are working part-time, 35, 39 hours a week, and then coming home and doing this to supplement their income so they don't have to pick up a second fucking job? Are you going to tell me that is somehow unnoble? That's not worthy of support? That person isn't already working their fucking balls off? So what? Instead of doing something that they love in front of people who would like to watch it, they need to go and flip burgers at the Jack in the Box? What the fuck is wrong with you? Where do you get this mentality that that you get to decide when somebody has earned the right, that you get to decide based on their audience growth or their channel what the fuck they get to do with their audience? You come to Final Encountercast and you look at it in terms of numbers. We only have 845 followers. We've only been checked out a couple of times, but you just look at Final Encountercast having no knowledge of what we've done with Limit Break Radio for the 10 fucking years that we've been doing it, and you look and you go, oh, well, why are these guys asking or getting any money? And people become incensed about it. Fuck you. You don't know the backstory, and if you want to judge me, you know what? You should at least find out a little bit more about me before you tell me to fuck off and I don't need my money. Asshole.
I think that's the best point right there, is the fact that if somebody looked at us, they'd be like, oh, they've been doing it for less than a year. Fuck off.
You don't know. Oh, yeah, we've been doing it less than a year. We having no idea that we took the foundation from one show and used it to build another show.
Yep.
Which is exactly what you're supposed to do when you're building a content network. Man, the arrogance of this guy just fucking eats at me. The arrogance of this shit to come out and say you don't need the money. No, that's not true. And I'd love for him to come on this program and defend the statements. I'd love for that.
Ain't gonna happen.
It's never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. It's unfortunate because, I'd be really interested in unpacking this because it's not all wrong. Like, there are some good points in here, and there's some stuff that resonates.
Yeah.
There's some stuff that resonates. But the stupid bullshit that it degenerates into. Fuck this guy, man. I mean, I can't, it's disappointing because he's huge and notable, and
it seems like you would think he came from a humble background.
You would think that he would understand the plight of the quote unquote small guy, but apparently no. Going from 10 to 20 to 200 is normal.
Computer with no side panel, barely 720, 30 frames per second, lowest quality of the year. Yeah, you know what I would have said to that, dude? You need money. You need to upgrade.
Yes.
You have a great product, dude. You need money to bring a better product.
And you know what? I've just got to say that when we added the PayPal overlay, when we added the Patreon overlay to our stream, it was a way to acknowledge the people who were giving to us. And the reason that we have the Magic Voice read the messages off, whether it's during the show, whether it's when we're streaming, it's so that we can have fun with those messages. And that's I think that we build a value into giving to the show. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
That's what you're supposed to do, right? Or am I crazy? Am I crazy, or am I a capitalist now? Like, what the fuck is going on here?
When you donate to this show, you don't see, the room that we're in getting bigger and fancier because, Nate's spending money to upgrade his apartment. What you see is better quality cameras. You see better quality mics. You hear the quality, and you see us more regularly. Your money is directly increasing the quality of the show.
Now, when we start dipping our microphones in gold like Killer Keemstar, then you can start asking what the fuck we're doing with our money. It's just this whole thing is ridiculous, and I mean, I didn't know who he was before. I'm definitely not a fan now. Definitely not a fan now.
Yeah.
I don't know. And apparently I'm not the only one. We're not the only ones that disagreed with a lot of this. You got a big backlash on Twitter, and then after like a day or so, just said, "I'm done with this conversation. I'm packing up my toys."
Oh, gee, that sounds a lot like another gamer that we talked to briefly.
Oh yeah, it does, doesn't it? I just that also that mentality of like, oh, well, I said something, that people don't like, and now I'm just gonna, I'm not going to bother responding. I mean, I get it that, like, you can't respond to everything.
Yeah, true.
I mean, we've been in that situation before, too. Mm-hmm. But what was my response when we got a lot of flack? I sat down for an entire fucking day and did an AMA.
Yeah, you did. Yep.
Went behind enemy lines. I mean, come on. what are you going to do to justify this? It left me with a bad taste in my mouth.
Nothing.
What are you going to do?
Nothing.
What are you going to do?
You know what, too? Like honestly, the arrogance of it. Because who do you think your viewers are made up out of? People who want to do what you do, and who probably once or twice a week try to do what you do, and you just fucking shit on all of them.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. I think that's good. We have run a little bit over time here today, so I think
really quick, I want to give a shout out to Amnesiac. Said I discovered this cast on YouTube.
Nice.
I emailed Feck asking how to donate to the show because I don't have a Twitch account. I just created an account here today for the sole purpose of donating, interacting with, and supporting the show.
That's what's
Thank
up.
you, Amnesiac.
Look at that.
Aw, hi.
And Lirik wants to tell us that our content is invalid. We can't ask for support because we're bringing people to the platform. Like,
you know what? Fuck you, Lirik, because Amnesiac, here's how you can do it. There's 3 ways. We have a tip jar just below us right there. That would be PayPal. You could also head over to Limit Break Radio and become a sub there to give us a little bit of your funds, or head over to patreon.com/Limit Break Radio, where you can contribute at different levels and get cool swag as a result.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for your support, Amnesiac.
Absolutely. It means a lot to us little guys, let me tell you. Anyway, I think that's going to do it here for today's show. I want to thank everyone who hung out and listened to the entirety of the show, all 130 of you, and also to our anonymous emailer who gave us such a wonderful topic to talk about. So thank you guys for hanging out today. It's always a lot of fun. Make sure that you come back and join us next Sunday. That's right. We'll be here starting at 5 p.m. at twitch.tv/Final Encountercast. If you missed any of today's show, you can check out our full archives over at finalencountercast.com, as well as a current archive of the Refresh podcast, which we normally do on Wednesdays. We're trying to reschedule and find a new schedule for. We'll have more info about that at finalencountercast.com. I want to thank my crew. We've got Len sitting in the background, Kooky manning the phones. We've got Robbie, Chris, Callie, and Nika. Thank you guys so much. I'm Nate. Have a good night.